Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for having this hearing and such a wonderful panel. I'm going to go right to what I think we need. I'm not so sure we need new programs. I know I might surprise everybody because I'm a good Democrat, but I do know, so we might need a new program, but what I am convinced is that we need a new commitment to early childhood education. Head Start was created almost 50 years ago. It was one of the building blocks that President Johnson wanted in the war on poverty. My first job as getting my master's in social work was to be a social worker in a Head Start program. And for those of us who were in those programs, we were so excited because we saw Head Start is one of the keys to helping our children move out of poverty because we knew how important it is. 48 years of experience on Head Start, and we are still having these kinds of discussions. So we need a real commitment. So I'm going to get to my questions, but I just want to make a few things. We need to build on existing programs. Head Start, the the Child Care Development Block Grant that Senator Burr and I have worked on a bipartisan agreement, ripened and ready for the floor. We did a great job in appropriations. Head Start is now funded at $8.6 billion. We added $1 billion, and that was decided on a bipartisan basis. The the Child Care Development Block Grant, again, we increased that. That's $2.3 billion. So we have some of the building blocks. We need to build on best practices, provide local flexibility, and let's look at the reality. If you're somebody, everything that I've read in your testimony, and listen very carefully, all of the programs you have bachelor's degree people working in them when you use the word quality. Yet the average pay for I'll call it a preschool teacher, it's a dated term, but I'll use it, is about between $32,000 and $38,000. Yet if you would go into high school teaching and so on, that pay can increase by $30,000. A $30,000 pay gap. This is stunning. So we need to be able to look at that. So as we work on this, we need to make the highest and best use of what we have, which takes me to my question to you, Mr. White. You've spoken about fragmentation and the council, this coordinating council, et cetera, that was established in Louisiana, and congratulations for that. Would you recommend that as we move ahead with whatever we want to do, the reauthorization of Head Start, the creation of a new program, that we encourage states to establish councils and coordinating mechanisms like that to get highest and best use of existing programs?
I would encourage that any levying of federal dollars.
And should we mandate those councils?
I would say that states should develop plans that have three principles embedded. One, a basic minimum standard of quality. Two, a plan to ensure that teachers are capable of delivering that quality. And three, a plan to maximize the variety and of choices and the funding streams that come with them. In Louisiana, in our state, that happens to come through the parish level. However, in a state like New York, where I previously worked, that has more than 900 school systems, you can imagine a different local structure. If we don't get to the question of how these funding streams interrelate with each other, as I believe, Senator, you're hinting at, we'll never
I'm not hinting at it. I'm pretty definite about it.
Yes, ma'am. We're never getting to quality.
I really do think we have to make use of existing programs and have them work together.
But if I can highlight some of the points you're making around teacher pay, yes, it's a $28,000, $29,000, $30,000 question maybe for some of the pre-kindergarten teachers. In our state, it's often a minimum wage question for a child care educator. If we don't address thus the relationship of the child care subsidy to the Head Start subsidy to the pre-K subsidy into one uniform system of funding that's somehow determined not at a level across 300 million people, but more of a level across 4 million people, as in my state, we will never be able to develop policies complex enough, nuanced enough to address the fact that a minimum wage educator today is what we are asking to provide a world-class standard of public education for 3- and 4-year-olds.
I think those are great, and if you could put those out. You also said there $120 million of Louisiana money skirts the state.
Correct.
Right. What is that? Is that the faith-based programs? What is,
Those are the Head Start dollars that we're spending on 3 and 4-year-olds.
so how does that skirt the state?
Well, insofar as the relationship is directly between a grantee in our state at the parish level and the federal government, the regulatory structure is outside of it, the funding structure, and I think probably most important for these purposes, the enrollment structure is outside of it. And this is critical to understand, and you mentioned it with the networks. So long as we're talking about maximizing dollars and maximizing choice and access for families, we cannot continue to have families driving around whatever jurisdiction they live in, dropping off applications at 17 different places whose admissions processes don't speak to one another. This is a fundamental problem of governance. We won't make best use of taxpayer dollars, but we also won't be able to establish minimum standards if we don't solve it.
If you could flesh that out and get those ideas to us, I would appreciate it.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you very much. There are many questions for all of you, but
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. My time's up.